I mean, there's different realms of thinking here, but there was a lot of setup here, especially by individuals like Bill Gates, that wasn't just funneling money into the mainstream media, because he gave hundreds of billions of dollars to the mainstream media. That buys a lot of influence. There's smart people who know what's going on.
I mean, if we could, it's so annoying to do the cliche Bill Gates.
No. It's important to mention here because this is a man that has far more influence than we even know about, and we already know. Hundreds of millions of dollars to the mainstream media. A new report just came out.
Give me some evidence other than the guy says stupid things to the press.
He doesn't say stupid things to the press. He buys off the press. He gave them $319 million to media outlets like CNN, NBC, NPR, The Atlantic, the BBC, The Guardian. All are on his payroll. All are on his paycheck.
But what does that mean?
And we talk about the way that he positions himself in society, especially
what does
with,
it mean? What does it
with
mean?
the things like the vaccine industry.
Explain to me beyond, I saw a guy do a bunch of things that make me question him. Look, I don't like the guy. I think he's got weird views on the world. I don't trust him. I think he's a bad person. I look at his history and how he started Microsoft and how he moved through Silicon Valley, much like Steve Jobs, also not a good guy. But the problem I have with this, like, here's a guy who did a thing. It's like, yo, what's happening in the world right now involves thousands of people. We can talk about Donald Trump's role in 15 days to slow the spread, but I don't think Trump was a big player in exactly what was going on. I think he got swept up in it. We could talk about Joe Biden's attempted a vaccine mandate we could struck down, and then everyone's like, but you know, Bill Gates.
But Biden's not there. Biden is not a human being who's not even consciously there. There's other people behind him. There's special interests behind him. There's major corporations behind him. There's globalists behind him.
And we can talk about how Pfizer has been dumping money into these companies, into the media outlets.
Sponsored by
Pfizer. Getting no
and why
liability
not?
contracts.
Then why shouldn't we talk about them? They're huge influence players. There's big players.
The issue
there's
I
puppets
take
and there's players.
Is that
I want to talk about the players, not the puppets.
They've always done this. The Koch brothers are doing this, and George Soros is doing that.
They are.
And Bill Gates is doing this.
But they are.
You want me to give you a list of the 2,000 billionaires who are all doing this? Look, I get it. It's frustrating for me because people talk about Bill Gates in some superficial manner, like, did you know that he gave money to the media? What does that mean? Tell me what that means. I know he owns influence. The dude has had influence for decades. They all do. This one story does not say anything about the fact that
it's
we
one
have
story
corruption.
After another story after another story.
No,
the man is literally trying to control the weather. It's his obsession. He's making GMO mosquitoes. If you think this
You're
person,
obsessed.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not.
You can name George Soros. You can name George Soros and the DAs he's been funding. This is why what frustrates me.
And why shouldn't you?
What frustrates me here is you get a story from June 2021 where BARDA, which is a bioresearch lab in the U.S., I believe through HHS, gets a weaponized smallpox drug approved. I believe it was approved. I could be wrong about this. Bill Gates comes out and says, I'm worried about weaponized smallpox. And all of a sudden, the conspiracy realm lights up saying Bill Gates is doing whatever. And it's like, dude, he read the news.
That's not what we said. I never said anything about that. I didn't say you
did. I'm saying the issue I take is...
Yeah, there's other people that take it too far, of course.
And so the issue I take is, like, I've just had so many conversations about the obsession over Bill Gates.
Yeah, I think it's a red herring to go after the individuals because, like, if you have a corrupt king that's terrorizing his subjects, you want to remove that king, you're going to get another king. And he may or may not terrorize. What you want to do is disrupt the monarchy and change the system so that there is no possibility for
you mean replace the puppets so the puppets look all nice and
so
different and it's a red puppet and a blue puppet?
Avoid that.
And no, I want to get the puppeteer.
Like, you want to fix the system so that one guy can't become a multi-trillionaire.
Listen,
maybe.
Here's the problem. Right now, we have a culture, and culture is more powerful than politics and law. As I've mentioned numerous times, the easiest way to explain it is there's wacky laws in Massachusetts. You know, they have a law from the 1600s. You can't put a pie on your windowsill on Sunday afternoon because it attracts bears. And now no cop will enforce that. So when you get 100 million people and you're standing before them and they say, tell us what's happening. You say, this Bill Gates guy spent money in the press. They go, what am I supposed to do with that?
No, I wouldn't say that.
No, stop. Yeah. Or you say, do not let the government put their boot on your neck. Do not let them mandate medical procedures. Influence the culture. I have never I don't like doing these bits where it's like, did you know person X did X or did Y? You have all of these YouTubers who make videos about people, and then regular people who are standing at ready saying, I want the world to be a better place for my kids. I want to make sure I have my freedoms and my liberties. What should I do? You should be mad at Bill Gates. And they go, okay, I won't fight in any meaningful way for principles. I won't focus on what's happening in my community. I won't vote locally. I'll complain about Bill Gates. Then those people go out to rallies and they hold up big signs saying Bill Gates. And then when regular people show up, they go, look at the crazy people. Look at the crazy people.
No.
So this is what frustrates me. Whenever it comes to the vaccine stuff, everyone's like, let's have a debate over science, and we're not scientists. And I'm like, why? Why? When we can just say we are advocates for freedom. We are American citizens who know the history of this country and the founding fathers who said we demand freedom and respect, and tell the people, instead of trying to pretend to be a scientist who's going to argue about medical efficacy, we can just say, I reject your attempts to mandate a medical procedure on me.
The two are not exclusive. You could have both. And I don't just obsessively talk about Bill Gates. I talk about him. I talk about all the other very influential people who are doing that. But I also talk about solutions. I also talk about personal responsibility. I also talk about the need for you to wake up from this trauma-based mind control and psychosis that people are going through by watching the mainstream media, by watching what Bill Gates funds, by watching what all these other individuals finance in order to trick you and lie. I think they do. I disagree with you. I absolutely disagree with you.
You live in bubble world.
No. I don't think I do, because if people actually do find out the reality of the true existence of this world, which many of them are right now, many people are waking up. When people see the true reality of it, they start understanding the players behind the scenes here. Then they could start implementing policies where they're not victimized by these players and their games that they play on the rest of the population.
We don't get towards a convention of states, assuming that's what we want. We don't get towards a populist uprising because a bunch of people went outside complaining about Bill Gates.
I'm not saying complaining about Bill Gates. I'm saying understand the problem and be able to diagnose it correctly without playing their games of, here's a puppet. You vote for this puppet. This puppet's going to make things better. No. There's bigger players behind the scenes. And if you understand, hold on, I'm not done yet.
Your billionaire changes every week.
I let you talk, right?
Your billionaire changes every week.
No,
it's pointless. And
I disagree.
We go through the months and months of George Soros as the guy funding the DAs.
Yeah, that's important.
We are not seeing parents rise up and revolt because they found out about Bill Gates. We're seeing their children and their families being affected. They're seeing their culture be destroyed, and it's so common.
Who's doing that? Who's responsible
for all that?
Who's doing all this bad stuff, Tim?
It doesn't matter.
It does.